We got some
100%.
stat when I was doing early HPDE that was something about most drivers, when they have to hit the brakes hard, will only use 50% of their car's braking capability, and then they'll just give up.
Wow.
Because they won't push the pedal hard enough.
What can you do to make someone whose first day, it's first time at a motorsport event, how do you make that person feel less nervous? I don't know. I'm literally asking you, what can you do?
Yeah. If we can bring people in early and just start the conversation and say, hey, we've got an event in a month. Are you excited? Do you have questions? What do you want to know? Do you have questions about car prep? Did you get a hotel? We do a room block for the hotel. So are you at the host hotel? We're going to do a group dinner on Saturday night. Stay for dinner. These different things just to get people talking.
What's up, folks? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. Factor is in the house. Time to power up for springtime with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. Get nutritious, chef-prepared meals delivered straight to your door, leaving you time and energy to tackle everything on your to-do list. And if you know anything about me, you know my whole life is my to-do list. That's why I love Factor. Like today, Zach and I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go film, right? I had a bar, and then I got back from a long day's work at 11:30 a.m. That's what happened. You're hungry. You don't want to wait for food. You want to eat healthy. Factor in the fridge, ready to go. 2 minutes in the microwave, and you are done. If you're too busy to cook with Factor, skip the trip to the grocery store and skip the chopping, prepping, and cleaning up too. Factor's got fresh, never frozen meals, and they are ready in just 2 minutes. Just heat and enjoy. Whether it's keto, vegetarian, calorie smart, protein plus, or more, the meals are prepared by chefs and approved by dietitians, and every meal has all the ingredients you need to feel satisfied all day long. 34 options each week. There's always something new to try. Try meals any time of day, breakfast options like egg bites, smoothies, and more, or replenish your snack supply with an assortment of 45 or more add-ons. You want to cut back on takeout? Get Factor instead. It's cheaper than takeout, meals are ready quicker than restaurant delivery, and you can put the time and money you save towards planning activities for when the weather warms up with the family. Get Factor and enjoy clean eating without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered directly to your door in 2 minutes, no prep, no mess. So head to factormeals.com/tire50 and use code TIRE50 to get 50% off your first box. All right? TIRE50 at factormeals.com/tire50. Got to do it twice. You got to put it in the URL, got to put it in the code box. Then you get 50% off your first box with Factor. All right. Also, breaking news, Manscaped now sells beard products. Lordy me, I am ready for it. That's right. They are revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. They sent me one, and I am ready to use it. I haven't used it yet. I'm scruffy right now, but when I get home, go to the gym and shower, I am going to get down on this Beard Hedger kit, and I will report back next week on how well it works. But according to them, the Beard Hedger Pro Kit allows you to shape your signature beard look, and now you can use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet. Best metaphors with Manscaped, using code TIRE20 for 20% off and free shipping. This thing is a juggernaut of fixing faces. It's a cordless trimmer with a rotary wheel that gives you 20 different hair cutting lengths with one guard. No more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. No more weird attachments. That's right. Face grooming doesn't need to be hard. 20 different beard lengths in just one guard. You know what happened to me once? I was using a different trimmer, a trimmer that I liked at the time, and it had a snap-on guard attachment. And I was trimming my beard, and right in the middle of the trim, the guard goes flying off across the room, which in itself is not that big of a problem, except that I shaved half my beard with a then guardless thing. And I had to basically ditch my entire beard because I would have looked like I'd just been in a machete battle or something. It wasn't good. That's why this is a real improvement on that. It's waterproof, so you can shave in the shower and avoid all that hair in the sink. The blade is coated in titanium. light on hair or tough on hair, but smooth on your face. And they've created 4 dermatologist-tested formulations for your post-trim skincare. They've got beard shampoo and conditioner. This is important. You can get like dandruff and itchiness underneath the beard. You got to take care of the beard just as much as you would your regular hair, if not more. You got beard oil, very important, right? It's essential. No one wants a brittle and dry beard, and the oil relieves that dryness on the beard hair and the skin beneath, and it gives you a little shine. Then you cap off the kit with the Beard Balm, a pomade that shapes, styles, and moisturizes if you've got a longer beard. Also comes with 3 free gifts, a beard brush, comb, and scissors, ensuring your beard is ready to impress. So get 20% off and free shipping with code TIRE20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code TIRE20. The Manscaped Beard Hedger, 1 stroke, 1 guard, 20 lengths, baby. All right, on this episode of the podcast, Mr. Jake Thiewes is in my seat in the studio. He came to town. We were going to have an in-studio podcast, and then I got the plague, and so for this show, don't worry, I'm better now, but for this show, I was at home. Zach and Jake Thiewes are in the studio, and I have to call in from home. It's not as awkward as it sounds. I know it was weird, but Jake is the co-founder of OutMotorsports.com, which, like the name implies, is a home, a community for LGBTQ car enthusiasts to gather, go to events, have a place online where they can chat. And we talked to Jake about this. Jake is a proper gearhead. This dude's got race cars. He does a lot of racing with NASA. He does endurance racing. He does track days. And we talk about why such a thing is necessary, how it came about, and how you, if you are out there and feel like you need to be a community that understands you, how you can get involved. It's Jake Thiewes from OutMotorsports.com on the Smoking Tire Podcast.
It's fun to drive a pink Porsche, and that has more power than all the other Porsches.
Right.
That's typically called a hairdresser's car. I see that as being kind of fun.
Oh, it's totally fun. And the people who are getting on your case about it, A, are jealous that they're not driving a Porsche with a breathed-on motor, and B, could probably use therapy.
I think it angers the right kind of people.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't anger. It's not like it angers my friends who are like, I'm so disappointed in you. It's like it angers like really insecure people on forums who are the kind of people that you want to anger, right?
Exactly. Yeah. if you're not making someone a little upset, you're doing it wrong.
All right, dive bombing in. Jake, welcome to my chair.
Thanks. It's great and weird to be here.
Yeah. You didn't? I mean, I know that this is some poor circumstances, but you didn't come all the way to LA to do this show, did you? You had other things going on, right?
Well, no, I did have other things going on. I have some friends here to see who I've been seeing all week, and I also came in for the Chevy Colorado media drive. So I just kind of made a whole.
Did that happen already?
Yeah, it was last week.
Is there an embargo, or can you talk about the new Colorado?
I can talk all about it. What do you want to know?
Oh, I mean, it's interesting. We don't normally do much stuff with trucks, but it's a good opportunity to talk about it. I remember reading the big headline was, "Oh my God, they've taken our light switch away."
They have.
The horror.
They have.
The horror of light switch.
I have so many feelings about it, and I don't know how valid they are, but it's one of those things. Like, I think for most people, it's probably a better idea because, as I've been seeing today, driving on every freeway or interstate that you all have, people drive with no headlights on in the rain.
All the time.
Yeah.
And at night. It pisses me off so much.
Right. And it's not just Nissan Rogue drivers. It's everybody.
And I don't want to, I don't want to defend that behavior because it is wrong and stupid. However, LA is a pretty lit up place. And it is like, I turn my fucking headlights on, but I could understand how if you got in the car in a very well lit area that you could not think about it because it's still very easy to see because there's a lot of light in this city.
Right,
So
but-
I don't want to
but-
defend it.
But like every new
That's
car
wrong.
has automatic headlights, or 90% of them.
Well,
Leave the
that
switch in
having
auto.
the DRL, driving around with the DRLs on, but not the full high beat, the full headlights. Yeah, that annoys me.
Well, because sometimes
Put
your
that shit on
taillights
auto,
aren't on.
yo.
So your DRLs are on. So the view out the front is dim but lit. But then if you come up behind them on the highway, like I've seen that with people have like a graphite gray Prius.
Yes.
And like they're in danger of getting run into.
My whole drive here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
so yeah, they took
Especially
away the
when it
switch.
gets like foggy. Yeah. So no light
Right.
switch, but aren't you just hitting auto 90% of the time? Just
Yeah.
auto and
Yeah.
that's it, right?
Right, but this is going to sound more something than it should, but like I think I pay more attention when I'm driving than a lot of people. So if it is raining, I always want to physically turn the lights on. If I am towing a trailer, I always turn them on. And it's nice
Okay.
if there's just a physical switch I can kind of reach and do that without looking.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you that like a switch is easier. It is, but there's like I'd rather if I had to choose between a headlight switch and a volume knob. Like, does
Volume
the
knob.
Colorado have a volume knob?
It does.
Okay, so that's a kind of a false choice because you don't have to choose between the two. But if they're going to start taking shit away, let the volume knob be the fucking last thing standing. Please.
Agreed. It's got a volume knob and it has dials for temperature control.
Okay, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Ford fucking learned this in my Mach-E. You know, it's a big. Have you driven a Mach-E?
I have, yeah, with the single
Okay,
dial.
so the single dial. So did you drive one recently or like
No.
a year ago?
Within the last year.
Okay, so they've done an update. I don't know, maybe a month ago or so, where the big knob, which actually, you know, if you read about the big knob, you know that knob is actually glued onto the touch screen.
Yeah, it's just like a fake
doesn't-
finger that moves.
It's a fake finger that moves, right? But I have no problem with that. It works just fine. Yeah. But when you touch certain functions like the temperature or the seat heater or some other stuff, in which once you're into that function, controlling it with a knob would make sense. It turns the main volume knob into the knob for that. So if you tap the temperature, the knob becomes a temperature controller.
Mm-hmm.
If you tap the fan thing, then it becomes a fan speed controller, which I think is actually a smart update.
Yeah, that's really nice. That reminds me of some of the Jaguar Land Rover stuff, where you've got like a
Right.
temperature dial that you can push or pull, and it does other things, which is
Oh,
also
yeah,
really
yeah.
clever.
That was cool.
Yeah,
That is good. Your Land Rovers it's important that they have to work with gloves. That's like
Yes.
a big thing for Land Rover people. So okay, forget the fucking light switch. It's not the end of the world. It's sort of annoying. Hello, Nikki. This is Nikki, my sweet girl.
Oh, hi, Nikki.
And we're gonna have visits from cats during this show.
That's okay.
The
I didn't
cats
bring
are
any
very
with me, I'm sorry.
interested. And so yeah, I recommend bringing cats. Actually, is that the new Colorado interior? That's a very
It is.
handsome interior.
Yeah, it's a good looking interior.
Yeah, it finally feels. I've driven everything in the midsize segment in the last couple of years, and this finally feels like someone is putting as much care and attention into a midsize truck as they do their full size. So it's nice.
Yeah, that's a very nice looking layout. Enough buttons, and then also
Yeah.
a big screen.
Yeah, and even the
not
Chevy's going to love that
bad.
I'm saying this. This is promo for them. Even the work truck gets the big 11-point-something-inch center screen.
I really like the trend that we're seeing. Like the Porsche has it, the Civic Type R you showed up with has it, and also this like the horizontal oriented buttons below the vents in the center. They're always easy to hit with like gloves or something else, but they don't take a lot of vertical space up. Like what Jeep used to do. Was it one generation ago where every button was vertical because they kept the dash as flat
those
as
were
possible?
dumb.
Oh, yeah.
But it just was a little bit harder to hit some of them.
Those window switches in that
Yeah.
Jeep were so dumb. Those were the worst.
They still have those.
That was like the opposite of the E34 BMW switches, which were just like dominoes on the dash, basically.
I
right?
loved my E34. And those were
what a great car.
right behind the shifter, yeah.
Yeah, what a great car. Okay, so interior looks nice. That's so weird. They took away the light switch, but they have all those other buttons.
They took away the light switch, but they have a button that will lower all four windows at the same time.
Ooh.
Which is
Kinda
actually
like
very cool.
that.
Yeah, if you're like feeling,
I kind of like that.
if you're feeling yourself when a certain song comes on and the weather's nice, you can just smack the button and all the windows go down. You turn the volume up. It works.
I really like when you can do that with the remote fob too. You know, you hold down the unlock on my Ford. It does that. It drops all the windows, so it's real hot. You could do that. How does it actually drive?
Well, so I did a video that's on the YouTube, and I bombed down a
plug the
canyon
YouTube
road.
channel, by the way.
At Out Motorsports.
Okay.
Everything is the same username, which is great. But
Consistency.
yeah, love it. But I asked my drive partner if he minded if we like completely bombed down this canyon road, and we were in a trail boss on all-terrains and had them howling. It is actually fairly neutral. It's easy to make it rotate. It takes way too much steering input to do that because it's a pickup truck. But yeah, it drives really nice for what it is.
Cool. There you go. The Out Motorsports on the YouTubes.
On the YouTubes, yeah.
I like that Volvo race car. Now that's what I'm feeling over there.
Oh, that belongs to a friend of
That is
mine who has
excellent.
brought it to several of our events. He does ice racing with it.
Oh. What engine's in
that's
stock or
appropriate.
swapped?
It's a 740 turbo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been.
Do you know what the difference is between the 740 and the 940?
The badge, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing.
Yeah.
There's almost no difference.
Yeah, no,
I
his-
met with
that
one of
one's
the
a
Volvo
740.
people too, and they were like, "Yeah."
Yeah, well, I bought for another friend of mine. I helped him buy a 940, so I learned too much about that era of Volvo station wagon.
Yeah, there's basically no difference at
No,
all.
they're the same car.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So did you get to off road this thing as well, or is it just just dirt?
It was like an 8-hour day. We had some street driving time, and then we did a pretty mild off-road trail. But there was they called it the obstacle that had
The obstacle.
capital T,
We have
capital O.
one obstacle.
Yeah, it was.
And it's selling to the coasts of America.
The obstacle is liberals.
Yeah. Now I think liberals would like this truck too. But yeah, the obstacle was getting it, diagonal flex and showing off. They've all got a automatic locking rear diff, so it was like showing off traction management.
So this was in LA, right? In the LA area?
Kind of down near San Diego.
Oh,
So
okay.
we went-
I was going
we
to
went
ask
near-
where you went off-roading.
Yeah, we went near Julian.
Oh, okay. Cool. It's nice down there. That's
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Cool. And you're driving the Civic Type R press car, did I hear that?
I have a Type R, and in between, I also got to experience Rivian R1T for a few days.
Oh, well they're very good, aren't they?
Phenomenal.
Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah.
If the company survives, they'll have a good product range.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, they're really, really good. We're waiting on our Cricket, please. Oh, this cat is obsessed with the fact that there's cables running across the floor right now. It's like, ooh, new
great.
cables.
New
I'm
things to
gonna
eat.
chew. I'm gonna chew on a power cord. It's like you've never touched a power cord before. Why do you need to do it now, you little?
Keep doing it,
fucker?
Cricket.
I love her, but Zach, you are not a cool piece of animals. That is not okay. That's fucked up.
Just checking to see if you're listening.
That's fucked up. You want my cat dead, you motherfucker?
I just want consistency in the audio visual quality of the show because I have to deal with the wrath of the people.
I'm home for 3 days, and all of a sudden you want my cat's dead, motherfucker.
They compete with me for your affection.
No, but yeah.
You can laugh out loud, Jake.
Okay, all
You're
right.
laughing silently. He's like the kid in
To,
Thiewes, like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, that's funny. It's important that these companies make really, really good mid-sized trucks. If all their effort is in the giant trucks, then people who don't need giant trucks are going to buy fucking giant trucks, inconveniencing the rest of us.
Yeah,
Just because they're nicer places to be.
I'm one of those people. I have no need. I've owned 3 half-ton trucks. I don't need something that big. I need something that will tow 7,000 pounds and is smaller than a half-ton. So it's nice to have something like the Colorado that's like a nice place to sit that's also a good size.
Yeah, I wanted to like the fucking Ranger so bad, and then I drove one, and I was
Yeah.
like, yo, this, I know it's like at the time it was the year it came out in America,
Right.
but as someone who has traveled internationally, they weren't fucking fooling me.
Yeah, they weren't
It's
new
like-
when they brought them here. So
Yeah, like that shit was like, I saw that thing in Panama in 2013, bro.
Yeah.
Like that shit is not new, and it felt really, really old by the time it got here. So I really would like to see them make strides in the mid-sized truck. The Maverick seems nice. My
love
friend
the
has
Maverick.
a Maverick and loves
Yeah.
it.
Great.
Yeah.
The Maverick is great. I think new Ranger's coming, and then new Tacoma's pretty guaranteed coming next year, from what I understand. Which
New
is good
Tacoma,
'cause-
same as the old Tacoma.
Well, I just had an old Tacoma as a press loan before the Colorado drive, which was a really stark contrast.
Yeah, but you know what? I bet you they still sell more fucking Tacomas.
They
You know,
have their
like-
sales have only gone up since they've forgotten that the truck exists.
So crazy.
And I don't
That
know
and
why.
Dodge Chargers, right? Like you should put what cars? Yeah, what cars are very old and yet are selling more now as very old cars than ever before? Like Tacoma 4Runner, Charger Challenger. Anything else go into that list?
Chrysler
Like
300,
what else is
which is just Dodge variant.
Well.
I don't know.
Tesla Model S?
Oh, ow, yeah.
Which I actually don't think it's true. That's just a chance for me to dig at the fact that the Model S is old. I think their sales are way down. But
Yeah.
Zach, is there anything else that's very old that is that's still kicking around? The G-Wagon.
The G-Wagon, right? Well,
but the G-Wagon's
the new one is finally new.
Yeah.
That's
The
true.
la-
The new one is
the last
new.
current model year or whatever.
Yeah. I'm sure there's something else, but yeah, the Challenger and Charger, that's really amazing. Although I suppose circumstance has really helped those, because if you want a rear wheel drive V8 sedan,
it's like
where
everyone
else
else, there's
you
attrition.
gonna go?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, all right. So what are you towing with that thing? You said 7,000 pounds, right? You got race cars, right?
I do have a race car. So we're on race car number 2, track car number 3, because I blew one up and then wrecked the other one too many times. But I have a 95 E36 325 IS that's a Spec 3 car for NASA.
Oh, that's a good choice. That's probably a lot of fun.
It's a phenomenal car. I got into it. I had an E36 M3 that was in a more power to weight class, which quickly becomes a race of the checkbooks class. And I was not willing to swap a Drinth sequential gearbox into my car because reasons. So
It's amazing how fast like an E36 can become $250,000.
yeah. So I bought what is now the pink car for, $15,000, and it costs nothing to run and operate, and it's a phenomenal fun time.
Oh yeah, there we go. When I was helping Bert Kreischer buy a race car for Tom Segura, and I was pushing them into the Spec E46, which was a 330.
Yeah.
I think it was a 04, 05, 330 CI coupe. And Bert was all, oh yeah, but this one, there's an M3 that's like only $15,000 more. And I go, yeah, trust me, you don't want that one because of reasons.
You're going to spend more time modifying it and chasing everyone else with your build versus just driving.
Right. Yeah, and in a class, so what is that? What is that class? Spec 3? What is
Spec
that class?
3. So it's
What is that?
E36 Vanos 325i's. So 93 to 95
Okay.
model year.
And if you have a horsepower limit or a displacement limit?
It has to be the Vanos 2.5. So there's a horsepower cap, but we all kind of dyno within a similar power figure. I think the maximum is like 194.
Okay.
And I'm at
and there's a weight
192.
and weight minimum, I imagine.
minimum, yeah, 2850.
Okay. So
they're
is
pretty
that
fun.
basically just the car with no interior? You don't have to do much else?
Yeah, take everything out.
Yeah.
We've got spec shocks and springs and sway bars, and it's a certain wheel width and size, and we run a Toyo RR tire that's like fine enough and cheap.
Is that the spec tire for that series?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a Toyo RR,
Yeah.
and then we've got a rain tire. That's an RA1. And, I mean, you can build one of these cars from a donor with all of your stuff for like $20,000 and change.
Sweet.
It's so cheap. Versus...
because you don't have to put much in. It's really taking shit out more than anything else, right?
And I looked at Spec E46 when I picked this car because, I kind of a do-it-once, do-it-right person for buying things. And I have driven Spec E46s, and they are way fun. And I'm going to offend my friend James Clay at Bear World. I don't know if they're enough fun on top of a Spec 3 for the cost
right
difference.
Well, that could be true. That could
Like
definitely be true.
They're faster,
Right.
But the
I
experience is relatively the same.
the cheapest turnkey Spec E46 I could find was like 45 grand.
Yeah.
And like I said, I paid under 20 for this one.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah, that's a
way-
big
way
that's a big
different cost.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, big difference.
So,
yeah. Shout
they're
out to
both
James
phenomenal
Clay.
cars.
We met him
Loved-
at Pikes Peak. Good dude.
Driving the
phenomenal.
psychotic Pikes Peak Bimmer World car.
The
Oh my
Bergsteiger
God.
or whatever it is. The
Twin turbo
E36
LS
one.
with just like all the carbon
Yes.
aero stuff you could imagine. Holy moly.
So
Yeah.
my mechanic that works on the race car is Bimmer World's social media guy. So
Nice.
very small world for all this.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
And the car looks good in pink, I got to say.
Thank
It's
you.
nice. It's a good color.
Such
That's
a good looking car.
that's a $500 Mako paint job.
Hell yeah.
Race car.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is it literally Mako?
Literally Mako.
Do you just bring it on the trailer to a Mako? 'Cause
Yeah. There's a
really? That's kind of
there's
awesome,
a Mako
actually.
like an hour from me that's near Summit Point Motorsports Park, and they
That's
will
awesome.
do a race car quality paint job, which is like a scuff and spray.
Yeah, yeah.
Any color you want,
60 at
$500.
60, baby.
Yes.
Wow. They just put dinner plates over the tires to protect them. And
Pretty
they
much.
Just,
But I mean, I brought this car to them. It was
That's awesome.
factory Montreal blue with all the old vinyl from my friend who had run it for 10 years. They took all the vinyl off. They fixed some crunchy body work and painted it. It was like $2,500.
Hell yeah. That's
Yeah.
very solid. That's cool.
So
Yeah. And you can run a sedan in this class too, right? Can't you?
can, yeah.
They don't give a
oh,
shit,
right there. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a good
Yeah.
mix. So
Yeah.
if you're looking, actually, the one that you're pointing at, that's with
Number
the
11
yellow
here.
number 11, that is my friend Taylor, and that is my old car that I drove to my first job at AOL, which is a lot of layers to unravel. But
Yeah.
that was my old street
what
car.
was your first job at AOL? Packaging CDs to ship out?
No.
Did you compose the dial-up tone that we all got to
did.
experience?
Yeah, with a synth.
When you worked there, what speed was the dial-up connection?
Oh, this was after all that. This was
Okay.
when they were like not doing so hot. I was in editorial for AOL jobs and
right.
finance, but
wow.
all of the Autoblog people were like up the hall from me.
Oh, was that connected?
Yeah. It was when AOL and Weblogs Inc. were all connected. So it was like Autoblog and Engadget and all them.
Inc. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was during the period of you've still got an AOL email address. Weird.
Yep.
It was during that period.
Yep. And I mean, our official internal company chat tool was just AIM.
That's really funny, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. There's my wife, Snow, who I've talked about it before. She worked at Facebook for 2 years, and their in company system was, shocker, Facebook. They
Yeah.
just used Facebook for all work shit, and it was real weird.
Folks, got to take a quick break in this show for NASCAR. It's going to Las Vegas, baby. Very exciting. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by NASCAR and Las Vegas. NASCAR is continuing their West Coast tour in Sin City at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This is going to be a high-stakes race that you're not going to want to miss out on. The Clash at the Coliseum and the Daytona 500 kicked off NASCAR's 75th anniversary with a bang, so I'm sure we will be treated to some more great wheel-to-wheel racing in Vegas as well. Which driver is it going to have what it takes to bring home the checkered flag and set the tone for the rest of the season? Find out. Make sure you don't miss out on the action and tune into the NASCAR Cup Series race Sunday, March 5th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific on Fox.
Speaking of in-company connections, I don't know if you guys saw that Slack went down at Twitter for like 2 days, and everyone is like, "This is the last straw." It's pretty funny. I've had a laugh about it. Tell me about Out Motorsports.
Oh boy. So Out Motorsports is a community I started with a friend of mine, 2017 or 18, that focuses on bringing LGBT car enthusiasts together. So we've got an online space, and we've started hosting events. We do motorsport stuff, we do street drives, and we got into reviewing new cars as part of it all too.
Is it, and I mean this in, straight white guy version, but 100% genuine question. Driving and racing cars and who you choose to have sex with are not intrinsically related or disconnected, right? I mean, one really has, in theory, very little to do with the other. And so what did you see as the need for a car community that catered to queer people, or a queer community that catered to car people, however you want to put that?
Yeah, so my friend Tyler and I, who started this whole thing, we were both doing amateur motorsport. He was doing autocross, I was doing road racing, and we realized that we were showing up to these events, like, out as our own selves, and, not in any sort of like, pride parade sort of way, but just like showing up, and if we had a boyfriend, we would talk about them, and it was no big deal. But then we also realized there were other people who were kind of hiding who they were at the same events. And then there were a lot of people who simply weren't coming to the events because they didn't think they would be welcome.
Oh, interesting.
Whether that's true or not, they didn't feel like they would be welcome because, stereotypes are real, and car culture kind of caters to a certain group. Or
the garage calendars always had, chicks with tits. Like that,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the one element of it. And then the other element of it was, me after college, I moved back up to the DC area and was trying to kind of find my people just to make friends with and do things with. And there's all of these queer, amateur sports leagues or, social groups or whatever. And living in a city, especially a walkable city, when you tell people that you're into cars, they look at you like you have three heads. So I'm like, there has to be something. And I just couldn't find any sort of community of like, where do I find queer car people, whether it's for motorsport or just to hang out with. So we just built the thing we couldn't find on the internet.
Sure. Well, that makes total sense. Do you think it could be, because I go to a lot of car events, and granted, I don't take a poll, of whose orientation or gender identity is what. I talk to people about cars,
right?
And I'm sure there are plenty of things that people don't come up to me and discuss, and so I'm not going to say that my experience at these events is even remotely representative. But do you think it could be regional as well, where there's parts of the country where people do feel a little more comfortable being themselves than other parts of the country, and not to throw fucking shade at one particular place, but has that been your experience or not so much?
I think it could be regional to a point, but not really. Are you familiar with the concept of code switching?
Is that where you have two different ECU tunes, one for pump gas and one for race gas?
That's how you win in Spec E36.
Yes. Yeah, it's the same concept. So your experience, if you go to a Cars and Coffee or something, you may not realize that you're among, some queer people, but code switching is kind of the idea of like, I'm going to hide some of myself to just assimilate with whoever's around. So if I have a boyfriend, I may not bring them. Or if we're talking in a group and you're talking about something that you and your wife did and I did something similar with my partner, I may just not talk about it. Or I may kind of hedge my words to not reveal my identity. It's that sort of thing.
Yeah, gotcha.
And there is a freedom that comes with being in a group, like at one of our events where it's largely queer people who are the majority at these events. There's a freedom that comes with just knowing that like these are our people and this is safe and fine.
It removes that moment of like filtering and like, what do I want to say to these people?
Exactly.
Sure. And I imagine, it's, and again, I'm taking fucking swings at the air, but, depending on, how, hyper masculine, if you're queer and into off-road trucks, that may be a tougher thing than being into certain other subgenres of the car enthusiast world, right?
Absolutely. And most interestingly, and I know all Facebook groups are trash, but really being a part of any of these like social groups for a certain make and model.
Oh,
awful.
Yeah.
I will not join a whatever owners club because the amount of homophobia, misogyny, transphobia, that sort of stuff, like it is not worth my brain cycles.
Sure. I mean, I've learned that recently, and I am very, very cisgendered and straight.
Yeah.
All I had to do was get a somewhat pink car. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was it. You know, I can tell you, it doesn't even matter what your gender is or who you like to have sex with. You should never join a one make make or model car forum.
If you're thinking about
That's
it,
just just don't. Yeah, no. Use your Google search if you need to find out what type of oil you need to run.
Right.
Get in and get out.
Right. Yeah. Do not hang around.
Yeah. Don't make an account. Get the fuck out of there. Don't
Do not
stay.
engage.
Well, so how did you where did you decide to kind of get the ball rolling with this thing? Is it events first, website first, online community first? What was it?
So Tyler and I started just writing about our own experiences that was partially to kind of have a presence and show that, you know, here's these two gay guys doing motorsport and you could do it too. And then, you know, we had some people submit articles because they had done a track day or, you know, the Bondurant school or something. And then COVID really accelerated the concept of building some sort of community. So then we kind of did the online thing. We were, you know, everyone was stuck at home, so we were like, let's do Zoom calls. And then people liked them, and we've been doing Zoom calls monthly for 3 years now. So
wow,
we've been doing that. We have a Discord chat server. And then as vaccines...
I want to sound really dumb real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm stupid. What is a Discord server? Help me out.
It's like Slack. It's a chat
Okay.
room sort of deal. So you can make like a project thread for your car or something. We can talk about an event. You can just, you know, make threads and have them.
Okay.
So
Everyone listening to this just immediately rolled their eyes, be like,
Right.
you know what a Discord server is, you fucking loser? But like, I don't. So
okay, so Matt, it's like texting but with a lot of people at once.
It's like Slack plus
Thank
a
you.
forum in the middle somehow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we
thank
have
you for
that.
explaining that.
You're welcome. And then, you know, as vaccines rolled out and kind of the world started opening back up I hate saying post-COVID because we're not post-COVID, but...
You don't say that shit to me.
I know. That's the reason you're not here.
I'd love to be where you're sitting right now, but I am not.
Yeah. But no, in 2021, whatever you want to define that era as, we realized, hey, we should try hosting our own event. So I took a leap of faith and I rented Summit Point, and I told everyone who had said they would totally come to an event if I booked something, I said, now you need to show up because I have my personal money on the line.
Yeah.
So
I just blew 10 G's on this. You guys better
I need you guys to
fucking
come
show
and
up.
bring your money because
and I need you to bring all your friends.
And that's a risky one too, because Summit Point, it rains a lot there.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, and we
Weather
got lucky
can
with
be a
rain
factor.
and weather. So we did one event in 2021, and then 2022 was a big year. We ended up doing 6 events between racetrack and street, and we're going to do another 6 this year.
When you're doing Rallycross stuff too?
Yeah, so we're doing...
Awesome.
So Summit Point...
Rallycross rules.
Rallycross is so fun. We
That's
wanted
the
to
best.
do asphalt at Summit Point again, and the prices went up. So we decided to do Rallycross there. And then if you scroll down a little bit, our third event will be...
Summit Point has a
at
Rallycross
Gingerman.
course?
They do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think they have
Wow,
2
that's
actually.
awesome.
But
Really? Oh, cool.
yeah. So we're going to do 2 Rallycrosses at Summit, and then we're going to do a track cross, which is like autocross format on a racetrack, and we'll do that at Gingerman in Michigan.
Autocross format, what do they put cones within the racing line so you have to make extra moves throughout the track? Is that how that works?
Not necessarily, just you're not using the whole racetrack. So we'll run you from turn 2 to 9 or something, and it's just fastest
okay.
from A to B using that chunk. So it's a
got
little
it,
easier
okay.
on the cars because we also do a like Top Gear style cheap car challenge. So if you're showing up in a $1,500 PT Cruiser, like I need you to not boil your brakes because that would be a really bad time.
Sure. Yeah, okay. Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff are people bringing out to those track? What did people show up with at that first track day?
So with the cheap car thing, we've picked a new theme each year. The 2021 theme was orphaned makes and models, so things that are not on sale anymore. So
That's a good one.
Richard
Lots
Hammond
of
should bring
Saturns
Oliver.
and Pontiacs.
right, yeah. We've had some Pontiacs. I know you talked about Kevin Williams on an earlier episode. He showed up with a Daewoo Lanos,
Oh yeah, that car makes a great cameo in Pineapple Express.
Yes.
And actually, my wife, when she was in college, was a Daewoo salesman.
How did that go? That whole program lasted for like 3 minutes.
Yeah. I think she sold
One
she
semester.
Sold she sold at least one car, including one to her like best friend, and still feels bad about putting her best friend in a fucking Daewoo. But yeah, it was like a multi-level marketing scheme for college students basically. And my wife slang Daewoos. They were terrible. They're really,
That is something to have on a
bad.
resume.
Yeah.
So is this where you guys are running here at? It looks like Matt. I'm going to pull up the graphic for you, but Summit Point has like 3 different
They have a
dirt
bunch of circuits.
rallycross. I mean, they have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so I don't know if all of those are still operational. We're just running whatever they consider their main rallycross course.
Wow.
I mean, they have.
I've only ever done the road course there. I'm really missing out.
Well, and even the road course, they have 3 or 4 road courses.
Whatever I've done has been the main one.
The main one, yeah.
The one that's right in the middle of the screen right there. That's the one.
They
I
have
don't
a
know
lot
what
of
you call it.
configurations. They have like a wet circle. I mean, this is almost like a Porsche Experience Center plus 3 road courses. But wow,
So we've done.
It's a very fun racetrack. Whatever the main course is called.
Yeah, the main is
I
just
don't
Summit
fucking
Point,
remember.
Maine.
Yeah.
and that's where I race with NASA and the Spec 3. But then the events we've done on the paved courses at Summit have been more to your left there, on Shenandoah and Jefferson. So,
Oh yeah, Shenandoah course. I drove the Shenandoah course for, I think, what do you call it? One Lap of America.
Okay.
Once we used the Shenandoah course, which is
Shenandoah
tricky.
is fun. It's tricky,
Yeah,
it's
it's
tight,
tricky.
and it's got a replica of the carousel from the ring.
Right. Yeah.
So when we do these track crosses, we'll run them race direction and counter race just to spice it up. If you run Shenandoah backwards and you exit that carousel at full throttle, you will jump your car.
whoa.
Oh, fun.
have
That's
some
all.
excellent
Zach, it's at the
photos from that
top,
event.
right? Your mouse is on it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's
Yeah.
it's that section there.
So if you run it
Yeah.
left to right as you see it on the screen, you will jump on the way out. And when
That's
we did
probably
that,
pretty fun.
when we did that event, I had just bought a diesel Porsche Cayenne, and there's a photo of me 4 wheels off the ground in my Cayenne.
Jeez.
Oh,
I mean,
perfect.
and the wall is not too far away. So if you get your wheels off the ground, hopefully you land the correct.
You have to point the car straight. It will not go well otherwise.
Wait,
Jeez.
my wife just walked in the room. Hannah, how many Daewoos did you sell? More than one or just the one? 2 or 3, she says. Those poor bastards. Fucking Daewoos.
I just can't. That whole
Good for
program,
Kevin Williams for bringing a Daewoo. That guy fucking wins.
Yeah, and that car lasted the whole weekend, and he did like a neutral drop on his final run, and it like vomited all the coolant out the front of it, and that was the end of the Daewoo.
That's great.
Yeah.
But you're also, some of the events are like kind of serious, right? They're not all cheap car challenges, are they?
Well, you can bring whatever you've got, so we just split you into.
I don't
different
mean
classes.
serious. I just mean like
nothing
there's
serious.
people who bring like real track cars, right?
Yeah. What's funny is you can be. So the one we did last year, the theme was family haulers. So we had minivans, we had station wagons, all sorts of big sedans and stuff. But you can have a spray painted Chrysler Town and Country sharing the track with a Lotus Evora, which is exactly what happened.
That's just like the Nürburgring,
Yeah.
basically.
It's like a lemons race too.
It's exactly like what it's like over there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. And so it sounds like you guys are having a lot of fun. Has the overall reaction to what you're doing been overwhelmingly positive?
Yeah. It's been really positive, and we've sold out of all of the track events. You can only have so many people because of time constraints for people getting seat time. So we basically sell out or get close to selling out every time. And we've started bringing in more corporate support for these events as well. And automakers and aftermarket parts companies have been very excited to support us in a lot of different ways. So that's been really special too.
That's awesome. Are they like bringing press cars, or are they just like sponsoring?
They're sponsoring. So, the other thing about motorsport that I wanted to deal with as part of what we're doing is the financial part of it, because it's so gatekeepy,
Sure.
Everything's just expensive. So basically for last year we came up with this like scholarship program where if you have a car and you want to show up and money is a little tight, you can apply. And we got funding from some automakers and a couple other companies.
Cool.
And if you were selected, we would cover your entry fee and your hotel room, and all you have to do is get there.
Cool.
So that's pretty cool.
We did it last year, and we're doing it again this year. And
that is
I love
not
that we can
something that
offer
should be limited to Out Motorsports events. That's something that that's something that should be a more of a universal kind of thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's my whole view is, if you do motorsport even once or twice, it makes you a better driver overall.
Oh yeah.
Everyone should do it.
Not only does it make you a better driver, it calms you the fuck down on the street.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
learn
the very after my first 90-minute stint in a race car, which was in a Lemons race. It wasn't even a real race. It was a Lemons race. I immediately was like, oh, this like gumball shit is dumb as fuck.
Yep.
Like I only want to race people that know I'm racing them. Like that's not
Exactly. Like you swerving through traffic is like not helping anybody.
It's amazing what actually being in even a cheap car race can do to your mentality when it comes to how you drive, on the street.
Yeah, I mean, it teaches you patience and to look ahead and to anticipate everything. And
yeah,
I mean, we would all be better off if everyone had to do 2 motorsport events as part of their getting their license.
Yeah, if you did like 2 wheel-to-wheel races and a rallycross school,
yeah.
I think that would teach you so much, because the wheel-to-wheel, like you said, teaches you about looking ahead, planning, and trying to anticipate what other cars do.
Right.
So then if you're in traffic and you see someone weave a little bit, you're like, I'm just going to wait and see which lane they decide to choose or whatever.
Yeah.
And then rallycross, or rally training or rallycross to me is just like the best, most immersive way to learn car control and learn what's going to happen. Yeah, sliding at like a lower speed than, a drift or something.
Yeah. We got some stat when I was doing early HPDE that was something about most drivers, when they have to hit the brakes hard, will only use 50% of their car's braking capability, and then they'll just give up.
Whoa.
Because like they won't push the pedal hard enough.
Right.
Like you need to learn, to overcome what your brain thinks the car can do and like actually do more.
I think there's also potentially, and I heard this, it has nothing to do with gender or sexual identity, but I heard this when I went to a private racetrack club in Miami called the Thermal Club. Not Thermal's in Palm Springs. I went to the Concourse Club, in Miami. Okay. And he told me, their head sales guy told me a fucking wild statistic, which was that 75% of the members who sign up have no track experience at all. And I said, how could it be that somebody with no track experience would join a private country club that costs $350,000 to get in? And what he said was, in his opinion, HPDE culture is broken. He said with the way that people get on track is broken. And from the fact that figuring out how you even get in an event and on a track is very confusing. It's like, wait, I don't just call the track. I have to go to a third party, company that puts on track days. And then when you get there, the way they divide people, beginner, intermediate, advanced, it sort of incentivizes people to just do whatever they can to get out of the beginner group. They don't really, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who just want to spend one weekend in the first group and then move up because it seems like you've advanced. And in a lot of cases, you need to spend more time learning the basics.
I think some people also don't want to they don't want to consider themselves a novice.
No.
They go, well, but I have a GT3 RS or I have a whatever, or just about themselves. Like, well, I don't want to be considered a beginner.
Right.
Which is silly. I mean, especially because if these are people of means, they started somewhere with profession, so they know how climbing works and hard work. Yeah, but there's some kind of ego that gets in the way.
Yeah.
And I guess at the country club they have full-time instructors on staff who earn a salary. They're not their incentive to be there isn't just that, they get a free session too. They get the instructor session if they're willing to ride along with you. They're paid, 150 whatever they're paid, to be there, and that's their job, is to help you, one-on-one. And so I think that in terms of improving the quality of the drivers at track events. Like, we could do more to change the structure and the dynamic of HPDE events so they're more instructional, but in a way that doesn't feel like, I'm too tough. I'm so tough. I don't need instructions.
Right.
I just want to get to the intermediate group as fast as possible.
Yeah, no, I would totally agree with that. And I think the other challenge when, to your point of showing up for the first time, even once you've found a group and you sign up and you go, then you get to this paddock and there's 200 or 300 other people that you don't know. How do you meet people? Everyone else has their friends and their little like cliques or whatever. Where do you park? Where do you unload your stuff? Hopefully someone's nice and welcoming to you, but maybe not. So, that's the other thing that we're trying to do more and better this year is like, how do you welcome the new people in a way that gets them really involved in the group from day one or even ahead of the event? Because I think that goes a long way.
That is a challenge, even if your group is designed to be somewhat like-minded individuals. I mean, what can you do to make someone whose first day, it's first time at a motorsport event, how do you make that person feel less nervous? I don't know. I'm literally asking you, what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot as far as, and in the case of Out Motorsports, it is a more tight-knit group than saying all of the National Autosport Association across the country.
Right.
Very, very different scale. But if we can get communications established with the attendees ahead of time and bring them on to, say, Discord, the text message system. Sorry, I'll stop being shady.
No. I earned that one. That's fine.
Yeah. If we can bring people in early and just start the conversation and say, hey, we've got an event in a month. Are you excited? Do you have questions? What do you want to know? Do you have questions about car prep? Did you get a hotel? We do like a room block for the hotel. So are you at the host hotel? We're going to do a group dinner on Saturday night. Stay for dinner. Like, just these different things just to get people talking. And then what I've found is I don't have to do a lot of work once you start the conversation because the attendees who have been before that are coming back they're excited. They'll just take it and run, and they'll talk to these new people too.
And they'll go, something I did the first time that didn't work out very well.
Exactly.
And then the new people feel comfortable and ask questions. I feel like there's a big gap between like a racing school and then like these club days.
Yes.
And this is true of a lot of different hobbies. Like I've gone to, paid for a course in something and it's great. Like it's because you're paying for it and it's like, it's structured, it's hospitality, it's customer service. And it's like, here's the groundwork. Like we're going to start with classroom. Then here's how this works and here's how you should sit and da-da-da. Whereas if you just show up, it's like, all right, go that way, don't hit anybody. And they go through maybe like the track rules, but there needs to be something in the middle, I think, between an expensive racing school that is giving you a full classroom experience and the HPDE thing, which its intent is to educate, but it's leaving a lot of parts of a track day unaddressed unless, like you said, you go out and ask questions or you have this environment that fosters that conversation.
Right. Yeah. And I think as you scale the event, our events are 70 drivers. And the NASA events that I attend, we've got HPDE, we've got time trial, we've got road racing all in a weekend. That can be 300-something people. And that's just way harder to manage. I mean, I'm friends with the people that run our region, and it's tough. So that's just
that's a lot of fucking people. Like a
so
lot.
many people.
That's a lot.
I mean, we will fill the paddock at VIR.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Easily.
Wow.
We once did a Lemons race. There was 190 cars on the fucking grid.
Yeah.
Like at once. 190 cars on the track at once. It was at Sonoma. It was batshit. I mean,
it was a procession until the attrition rate kind of goes up, and then it spreads out a bit. Like thankfully, but even when I did Sebring,
it was fun in its own way.
Like I did that Sebring Lemons race, and they were like, attendance is kind of low. I think it was like 110 cars, and still, like that's a lot of cars that could be on the road at one time.
Yeah.
That's why I like other like I do AER and I do Lucky Dog and I do WRL, and they have a limit. It's a formula that's the number of cars per mile of track, and I think AER I think is like 32, which is still a pretty dense, if you're on a 2-mile road course, you're still talking about, 75, 80 cars, but it's much more manageable than 190.
Yeah, I've heard the rule about per mile, and we do something similar for NASA. I think.
Yeah,
it can still get pretty busy, but nothing like that.
Right. In the racing you do in that E36, it's time attack or is it wheel to wheel?
No, it's wheel to wheel.
It's wheel to wheel. Okay, yeah. So how many cars do they put on the grid for those races?
So we will run multiple classes at the same time, and everyone will get their own green flag. So it'll be 3 or 4 waves. So we might have 50 or 60 cars out there, but it's across 5 classes of cars. It's us and Spec E30 and Honda Challenge and 944 Cup, and we'll all be
and they'll stagger like 5 checkers. Wow, that's got to get after a few laps. That's got to get pretty intense.
They'll stagger the green, and then at that point, it is what it is.
Well, it's like Le Mans. Or any endurance race of high caliber. There's 5 different
they're all
series
out there.
going on. Yeah, and that's why there's such speed differential between prototype and Gentleman GT3 or whatever.
And we have several different race groups that will run. So I'm not out there with GT3s. Although I did with the picture you're showing on the screen. That was at Pit Race, and they put us in a group that also had whatever class it was had Vipers.
Oh,
yeah.
That was a new kind of scary to just have a Viper
really
next to you.
and passing you very quickly.
Like you check your mirror as you get on the straight, and there's no one there, and in the braking zone, there are 2 Vipers on either side of you.
Jeez.
Yeah. That happened to me a couple of times at AER. We're racing. I'm driving a fucking E30, and someone showed up with a 458 Challenge.
Oh boy,
it's a massive difference. Yeah. And so for the road drives that you guys are doing, is that like single day events or like multi-day road trip stuff?
It's like a single day thing. It's more about a social experience and building community versus doing a really, really long drive. So we'll get a room block at a hotel. We'll do kind of a cars and coffee thing in the morning, do a 2-3 hour drive on like really good back roads, and then end with dinner and debauchery at a hotel or whatever it turns out to be.
Sure. Debauchery.
Yeah. I don't want to say a party because that makes it sound like I'm throwing a party, and I'm not. But people will have parties in their rooms, or the lobby will turn into a party of its own. And I say our event ends at dinner, and then whatever you choose to do is on you.
Right. You have to print that out so when the cops show up, be like,
exactly.
Look,
that is not my event.
Says 6 to 7. After that, I don't fucking know. Well, that's awesome, man. I think you're doing a good thing. I think it's definitely, especially, especially for the people that either wouldn't go out on their own or are already going out but feel like they can't, be themselves. Like I would hope that if there's people, and I'll just say this: if you see me at the fucking car show or the track, be your goddamn self. Definitely talk about your partner, talk about your home life, talk about whatever you're doing. Like, I'm with it. Long as you're having a good time and a nice person, like, please, if you're around me and Zach, like, be yourself, feel free. It's a bummer that the community in general, or at larger doesn't provide that kind of vibe, but I don't know. Is that just the whole world? I guess that happens?
I mean, and I the other thing too is, like, I would say things are changing and improving, which, depending on what you want to talk about for a subtopic, they are or they're not. But in any case, I've always had a really good time and been able to just be who I am at my NASA region events. Like, since I've been going since I was 18. I started working before I started driving, and that's always been a totally fine time. But despite that, and despite everyone in the paddock knows me at this point, it's still a different vibe at an event that is by and for you. If you think of like a track event that was hosted and marketed exclusively for women, would have a different vibe than a regular NASA or SCCA weekend. It's the same thing.
Sure.
You have a good time when you're around your people, however you identify, and identity can be so many different things that I think a lot of people don't consider too.
Yeah, and I guess there's a difference between letting your guard most of the way down and all the way down. and that's
Exactly.
that's a important, but it's subtle, but an important distinction.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, dude. I definitely get that. It's weird because it makes total sense to hear you explain it. Like you've observed the angles, you got it, and then coming into this conversation, I was just kind of like, what does cars have to do with this? But like, it's not the car. It has very little to do with the car.
It's
itself,
not about the cars.
And
there have been people who have tried to be detractors, and I kind of don't care if people don't like what we're doing, because it's for the people who are looking to make nasty comments and looking to deliberately not understand. Like, it's not for you. It's not about you. Like, stay mad. I don't care.
It's
Right.
It would be
they
easy
can use
to
their
just-
energy to be mad.
Yeah.
What a waste.
I mean, it's not like anyone's being forced to go to your events or forced to fucking join your Discord server. Like,
No,
it would be
and-
very easy to just leave you the fuck alone if you're
Right.
not into it, right?
And I distinctly remember when I first started this whole thing and I got the logo done, and I had my old E36, and I got a copy of the logo that was the size of the hood and put it on the hood. I put a picture on Facebook because I was all excited because it looked really cool. And someone commented, who I had been racing with or in the paddock with for years, and he goes, I don't get it. Why does it have to be gay racing?
Of course.
And I didn't even have to defend myself. People jumped in. And it was like, if you have to ask that, it's not about you. And
Sure.
this isn't even necessarily about me or the people that are coming to these events in a lot of the cases. It's the representation for people who are sitting at home thinking they can't be a part of this stuff. Someone has to be visible so that other people will come out and do it eventually.
Yeah, and when you say it, when you talk about that internet comment, you can apply that attitude to so many things, and to anything where a disenfranchised group is being, represented, and why does it have to be about that? Why can't it just be about football?
Right.
Why does it have to be about race? Why can't it be about football?
Right. It's the shut up
whatever.
and dribble comment.
It is. It definitely is. I mean, and when and so that example definitely makes sense to me. Is that the people's that reaction is why it has to be like that.
Well, I think people don't recognize, like, let's say that they are, straight white Christian, 55 years old. They don't recognize that they are part of a community that also was an offshoot of the general community or a more focused community. They're like, well, on Sunday I go to church, or I go to a softball league that is organized by my church. Like, that is in a way the same thing. Like, you are among your peers, people that are like-minded, doing an activity, and then you all can, like you said, like let their hair down a little bit. It's just they don't see it as they're like, but your thing is different than my thing. It's like, that's okay.
But that's
people
identity.
can do different shit in the world and nothing changes. It's totally
Exactly.
fine.
Yeah, totally.
Identity is a much bigger thing that a lot of people have the privilege of never having to consider. And when to your point,
Sure.
I'm a softball player. I am of this religion. I'm white. Like, whatever. Even just because you're the default or you don't have to think about it doesn't mean it's not part of your identity. And it's not a problem that you are that way. It's just this is
And
who
what's
you are.
weird
You
is, like,
recognize it.
when people when people who don't normally have to think about it all of a sudden find themselves in a position where they have to recognize it, then they start getting weird.
Oh yeah.
Then people start getting they start, like, when the glitch in their fucking matrix happens and they don't know how to, like, process that, then they, like, holy shit, they kind of freak out. And I just, in my own life, when I read this book by Kevin M. Kruse called White Flight, which is an amazing book I can't recommend highly enough, and he's talking about post desegregation in the South, in Atlanta. That's the case study. And when public institutions were basically abandoned because white people didn't want to share them with black people.
Right.
And that basically was the invention of the private school, the private pool, the private country club. And the fucking examples that they use in the book are the school I went to when I was a kid, and the country club we belonged to when and this was
And how
probably
did that make you
30
feel?
Well, it
Despite
fucking
not
turned
like
some
you weren't
screws.
part of the problem.
No, but this isn't. These are inherited institutions, right?
Right.
You didn't. It may not be your fault, but it's yours now.
Yeah.
What do you do with it? And so it's for like a little bit, I was like,
Yeah.
like
sit with it
and I
for a
was
bit.
like, fuck, deal with that,
Yeah.
and so it's that sort of thing, from this side of the table, but you got to deal with it, right? That's what you're handed, and it's just like, okay, now I have the knowledge. What direction do I
Exactly.
take it?
Right.
Do I
If you
dig my
can-
heels in or not?
Right. If you can leave the world a little better than you found it, then that's probably good enough.
Right. So how many people are in your I don't know, what do we call it, group or Discord community?
I mean, we have this like membership program. That's the community element of it. About 250,
Okay,
and
pretty
growing.
good.
It's
Pretty good.
Yeah, there's a page on the website when you go to sign up for the membership that has pins of everybody on the map. And it's like an opt-in thing. Should load in that big white box up there.
Refresh.
Yeah, try again.
Oh,
There it goes.
Oh.
So you can opt
yeah,
into
good spread
to
around the
showing
country.
this, but we're seeing more and more
Yeah.
pins dropped in the South and in the West Coast, and I would love to see more pins everywhere. But we've got one guy who's
There's
a
a
member
nice
that's in
hole in
Australia.
Montana right now.
Yeah,
We work on that.
yeah. We've got a guy in Australia who calls into the Zoom calls. Mark.
Oh, fucking 4 in the
12
morning
hour,
from
12,
Australia.
yeah,
from
12
down
hour
there.
time difference. He's just like, hey, how's it going?
He calls in and talks
Yeah.
about his Citroens, and we have a great time.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Is it his early morning or his late night? Because you get a very different person depending on
Yeah.
you know what I mean? If it's 5 a.m., he's like, oh, I had a coffee. And if it's 3 a.m., he might be wasted.
He's pretty perky usually, so I would assume it's morning.
That's cool, man. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. I'm glad you explained it to me in a way that makes total fucking sense. And
Well,
and I'm
thanks.
sure that if anyone is out there listening and sees value in what you're doing, that they should go over to outmotorsports.com and sign up for your events and your text message thread over there.
Yeah, I mean, we love to
Zach.
have you. Like, it's fun. It's a good time.
Zach, do we have anything on the old Patreon?
We do. We have 2 questions on Patreon. The first
Great.
is from Lucas Taratis. He says, Jake, being that the car hobby is traditionally male and traditionally a macho one, do you think that LGBT and Q car personalities, YouTube, etc., have a duty to come out as a way to make our hobby more welcoming?
Ooh, I have a lot of feelings on this.
On the word duty?
No.
Oh. No, I don't. I didn't mean that in a bad way. I just mean like if you are feelings on if you're obligated to.
I mean,
to
well,
be out
yeah.
or not.
Yeah. I don't know if I would say duty, but I will put it this way. There are, as I've gotten more into the automotive media side of this with the car reviews and the drive programs and different things, I have learned that there are a lot of automotive media and people in the industry, working at automakers and whatever, who are family, who have either gone to great lengths to not let their orientation be known or just sort of left it, off on the side. And I'm not here to tell anyone that they need to be publicly more out or more whatever, but I think how I came out and how I approached my career would have been really different if I had some examples of gay or queer automotive media and motorsport competitors to look at and have as idols of some sort. So I feel like if not that many people are willing to do it or have historically done it, someone's got to, and that's why I'm doing it. I have a couple friends who are also doing similar things, and we feel a duty to do it because no one else has. But I'm not going to tell other people how to do this for themselves.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. You have an opportunity to be an example for other people that are like you.
Because no one else has
can-
done it. And they've had
Right.
decades. That's my strong feeling.
I can sense so much behind the eyeball.
I'm being so diplomatic. but
You're
yeah.
doing a very good job. That's funny.
There are a few who are good examples, and
Yeah.
who include their identity in their writing from time to time.
Yeah.
And we've had some of them on our show, and they're good friends, and they're doing good work as well.
Yeah, and to those people, all I have to say is thank you, because I think, it's also a different time now than it was when I was a kid or further back, and even when people are a little more subtle about it versus having a pink shirt with a rainbow logo on, it still does not go unnoticed, and it still does make a difference.
Do you ever work with our friend Donnie at gaywheels.com? Is Donnie still over there, Zach? Do you know Donnie, Jake?
I mean, I have a good friend named Donnie
I
who's
don't know.
been in the industry. I don't believe he's ever been at gaywheels.com.
I think that's our friend Donnie, and you'd probably get along with him. He's a great dude. We
I would
worked
love
with
to
him
know a
very
second
long time
Donnie.
ago. It might be the same fucking Donnie. I don't know. We can talk about which Donnie it is later. I don't want to make a big thing of it.
Yeah.
I don't want to out the wrong Donnie. Even though our friend Donnie does use his real last name in his content, so I don't think he would mind. What else you got, Zach?
The other one is like a whatever car question. Mark Privet says he recently bought a 2019 CPO Cayenne. The factory caliper paint is worn, so he's thinking about repainting it in 917 Pink Pig. The car is white, so anything will match. He says the wheels are 21-inch Cayenne turbo style in satin platinum. Will that look cool or not? Or should I do something else?
Only if you put the butcher lines on it.
Yeah. If you're going to do
The
that
pink
color.
pig has got to have the butcher shit on it, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like a pink car, right? But the butcher thing, that was what really made it like pig. It's like,
Yeah.
here's the cuts.
Well, and if you're going for the Porsche heritage bit of it,
Right.
then yeah, you need the lines.
I almost bought recently at Porsche of Santa Clarita. They had a replacement skin for the Porsche key fob that was the pink pig with the
I've seen
butcher
that.
shit.
Oh,
it's
that's cool.
fucking badass. And I was like, I was like, instant sell, credit card down. And
Yeah.
then I found out it only fits the 992 style key, and whereas my Boxster is the slightly older, the skinnier key, and it only does the new flat key. And I was very, very bummed. Porsche, give me a pink peak key skin, god damn it.
You've probably got the same key I do.
I
That's
have the
slightly,
regular ass skinny
tall-
Porsche key.
taller one maybe, skinny and
Yeah,
tall.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's the one that all Porsches used until 2020 when the 992 came out. And
Yeah.
then there's this like slightly wider and flatter. Yeah. What Porsche do you have?
I have a 958 diesel Cayenne.
Oh, nice.
It is
Do
a
you tow with
strange
that?
car.
Yeah,
I
there's
do.
the pink
That is
pig
the
shit.
coolest. I would love that.
And it is not expensive. I was
awesome.
expecting this to be hundreds and hundreds of dollars. It's like you get a skin for the key for $20.
How much is that? $20?
$20
Well,
bucks.
that looks like it's from.
That's from AliExpress. I don't know if I trust
Yeah,
that.
yeah. No,
fitment.
if you get the Porsche design one from the dealer, it's $100. But still, for
Still.
$100, I'm into it.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Yeah.
one looks like it might actually fit my key. Maybe
Yeah, that
maybe
looks
I
like-
can go on eBay or something and get the older style one for my key. Maybe. All right, AliExpress. Zach, save that link. We'll go shopping later. Diesel Cayennes. Those are
Yeah.
fucking very desirable.
It is a cool car. I had a Ram 1500 that I sold peak COVID 2021, and I made money on a gas-powered Dodge truck, which that is
Cash
the only
out.
time in your life you will do that. So I sold it, and I wanted something that was more like city-friendly and could still tow the trailer. So I have a 20-foot enclosed trailer, and people online said the Cayenne would do it, and it does do it, and it is astonishing at how well it tows, and then you can unhook the trailer and drive like a maniac on back roads, and it's also pretty good at that.
Yeah, those are very good cars, actually.
I
They're
love
real.
it.
My mom had the Q7 diesel,
Mm-hmm.
which was fucking quick and really, really nice, and was a great car. And because of the because of Dieselgate, they bought it back for like 80% of what they paid for it.
Yeah.
fucking like 9 years later or something.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
I know some people who did the buybacks, and then with the Q7 and Touareg and Cayennes, you could do like the reflash, and they would give you some money and give you the car back. So
yeah.
The Dieselgate warranty, though, runs from 10 years from the date of first sale and covers the entire long block and all of the fuel and diesel-y stuff.
Sweet.
So,
sweet. Yeah.
Mine had the engine out 3 times in 2022 to fix one oil leak. And Porsche paid for all of it.
That's awesome. 3 times.
Yeah, and this is from one dealer who couldn't do it right the first time.
Or the second.
Right. The third time I took it to a different dealer. But
3 times in 1 year.
they had it for 109
For one
days.
leak, so they couldn't find it twice.
Wow.
No, so the
Or-
first time,
Was it eating apart? Like water.
they're known to leak from the lower timing cover or something. So the procedure, because Porsche wants you to do this once and never come back, is to drop the front subframe, reseal the entire motor. So the first time, I have the paperwork, they put $7,500 in parts on this motor, and then they like stuff it back up in the car. I drive it for a few months, bring it back because the EGR cooler was going bad, and the service manager is like, it's leaking again, so we're going to drop the motor. And he calls me, and this is like, their communication also really sucked, but we won't get into that. So eventually I suss out that the rear main seal is leaking after they had replaced it the first time. He replaces it again. I drive it home to my parents to their brand new house for Thanksgiving, and it proceeds to leave oil on their brand new concrete driveway.
Oh
I was
man.
livid.
How did your parents take that? Were they okay with the oil in the concrete or not really?
My mom said she's never seen me that angry about anything. and I sat out there with Dawn and a scrub brush and cleaned the driveway.
Yeah.
And then I moved it to the street, and they're both worried. Like, it's a new construction neighborhood. They were worried that what if a dump truck hits it? And I was like, you better back up and hit it again. Like, total it at that point. So anyway, went to another dealer after Thanksgiving, and they, after a lot of back and forth, ended up, we got Porsche to cover the negligent work from the first dealer, and it's been resealed and it's running fine. But it took me pulling some journalist connection cards that I shouldn't have had to pull, and most people couldn't pull to get it done.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, bro.
Yeah, but it's like, what would the average owner do? They would go to a Mercedes dealer, throw the keys at someone, and get a GLE and leave. And they would talk shit about Porsche to everyone that would listen for 20 years.
That's a good point.
So
I'm looking for this photo, this stuff that my guys found at the shop. It's called, you're gonna laugh. It's gonna called Pull It Out. I swear, and it is I have an employee at my shop who has this. He's got a crazy Terminator Mustang like drag car for weekends, and he drives this fucking the beatest Honda Accord you've ever seen to work. And this motherfucker leaked oil all over my floor, and I got really mad. And so Vinny found this shit called Pull It Out. The brand name is Chomp, and the product is called Pull It Out. And this stuff, I have never seen any product get oil off of concrete as effectively as this, ever. It is gone. The oil stains are gone. And cannot recommend the Chomp Pull It Out highly enough, even though it's a very, very bizarre name for a product.
I'm gonna have to see how their driveway's looking, and we might have to buy some.
Pull it out, but not too fast.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. I recommend that stuff very much.
Well,
yeah, it works. I'm telling you, whatever their before after is showing, it is accurate. If you go look at my underground garage floor, it was fucked, and it's all good now. So
that's good. Yeah, Zach gave me a little tour.
Shout out to Chomp. Yeah, yeah. The oil stains are gone off the underground floor.
Didn't see anything.
Yeah, it's a good shop down there. Well, Jake, thank you so much for coming in. I'm very sorry that I'm stuck at home and contagious. I would have been very happy to come down there and do a show in person with you, but I think
I appreciate you having me on either
thing.
way. Thank you. Yeah. And hopefully you test negative again quickly.
I hope so too. I got shit to do next week. This is fucking frustrating.
Ruins all your plans, right?
Can't keep canceling stuff like this.
Yeah.
Of course, Out Motorsports, all the social medias, and outmotorsports.com. and on the YouTube. Buy some merch, get a pink shirt. It's really working out for you because pink cars are fucking hot right now.
I think,
You know,
yeah. And the
coming to
color
you.
of mine is it's a 70s 911 color.
Is
there's
it?
There's the minivan that ran.
The
Terrible.
minivan
Like a
is
Harlequin.
hot.
That was a $200 auction car.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
Porsche Santa Maria, Matt, they just did a pink cars and coffee like 2
I
weeks
saw
ago.
those pictures.
Santa Clarita. Yeah.
Santa Clarita,
I was
right?
there.
Yeah, Santa Clarita.
Yeah, I went. My frozen berry metallic Spider was featured. Yeah, Bo Bachman fucking loves pink cars.
Yeah.
He's all about it.
I think pink and purple are underrated, and they can look really, really good if it's the right shade of the color.
Yeah, definitely. Pro painting your car pink.
Absolutely.
Absolutely about it. Well, thanks, Jake. I appreciate you
Yeah.
coming down. Thank you, the rest of you, for listening. I'm back in the studio next week. This is a total fucking waste of time, me being at home. But you got to do the right thing. Can't be spreading that shit. Once you know, it's about what you do with it, right?
Exactly.
You
And
go out
I
in
don't want to have
public
my
or do you-
plans canceled, despite yours being
Yeah,
canceled.
that's what I'm saying.
I got stuff
Fuck
to do.
everybody else's life up, right? Yeah,
Right.
I'm not about that shit. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jake, and we'll see you next week.